Hello, all you keystrokers out there, and welcome to the very first rebooted episode of Kalene Showtime. Doing it a little bit differently this time for those of us out there in the YouTube Podbean lands. I did Kalene Storytime a year or two ago, exclusively in our Facebook group. But you know what? I've got some, a little bit more experience doing this stuff. And I'm like, let's just do it live. Let's just give everybody the fun time of hearing live narration. And today I have for you, no, don't remove it, add it to the stream. Come back, there we go. The Trashman, a hit world novel by William Alan Webb. So I had put up a call to all the keystrokers, give me your manuscripts. If you want them read live, I will read your first chapters live. And Mr. Bill Webb was the first one to make a comment, so he gets the first episode. So anyone, if you're wanting after this to have your first send me at nosafewordsllc.com. Make sure you put in the subject story time at least so that I know it's you if you get put into the junk pile, that I can siphon you out and not lose your stuff. I'm going to need either access, send a file of the first chapter itself, or at least a direct link to your Amazon author page or wherever the story is. Just make sure that they are firstly actually published. That is more to protect you, the author, from anyone purging your words. So yeah, let's jump right in. Alrighty, The Trashman, Chapter 1. Oh wait, no, I was gonna do something else. Let's see, the blurb opener. Everything you don't believe is real. Steed learned that the hard way. Bom, bom, bom. Alright, Chapter 1. The blonde was bleached, like raptor bones frozen in Cretaceous mud. Lumped into a chair beside her, the guy's fleshy jowls sagged like raw bread dough. Jewels glittered on most of her 20 fingers, and they both smelled nice, like those French milled soaps hotels put in the little baskets in the bathrooms. You've read the contract, I assume, I said. You know my fees. The terms are acceptable. The money is no problem, Mr. Delvin said with a dismissive wave, as if I was just another underling. Experience taught me that when people said money wasn't a problem, it was a problem. People for whom money really wasn't a problem didn't have to say it. I leaned back in my padded swivel chair with the lumbar support and fired up a smoke. His piggy little eyes widened as I inhaled. Would you mind putting that out? He said, as if I'd committed a crime, which technically I had. It's just that after all the other shit the world had been through in the past couple of decades, enforcing anti-smoking laws wasn't high on anybody's agenda. Yeah. Thank you. I meant that I would mind. His eyebrows shot up. I guess my client wasn't used to somebody else being in charge. As for Blondie, she stared at the cigarette like it was a well-chilled martini, or a male stripper with 3 legs. So, who do you want dead? I asked. The word dead got his attention, and his demeanor changed, like he finally figured out this was my office, not his. The man glanced to either side. He could spot my camera's microphone and wiped his generous forehead with a handkerchief. Exactly how official is this conversation? He asked. His right thumb and index finger tapped each other like John Bonham hammering drunket. It was the kind of mark I loved playing poker with. Rich, unable by anxiety. I'm bound by the ethics of my profession and my organization, I said. I pointed to the twin frames holding my license, my certificate of membership in the North American Life Enders Association, and my franchise authorization, as well as by all applicable laws. It's as confidential as the doctor-patient, lawyer-client privilege. It's all out in the contract. You have no cameras or microphones here? Of course not, I lied. 4 microphones and 6 cameras caught everything. Well, you see, it's just that we've heard. He glanced at Blondie, aka Mrs. Delvin, who reached out and rubbed the back of his hand. We've heard things. People like you who carry out the contract, then inform the victim's family who hired you, drumming up business, so to speak. You've seen my commercials during the daytime talk shows, usually packaged with some ambulance chasing lawyers promise to get you money the insurance company doesn't want you to know about. I was the grinning guy who came on at the end and said, "If they don't pay, let us slay." On city buses and billboards, that was shortened to, "You pay, we slay." At no point was there ever an us or we, only me. But it sounded better if people thought you were big. Assassins, by and large, are a live and let live sort, slow to anger. Ours is not a business that lends itself well to quick displays of emotion. But what Mr. Delvin was insinuating was the deepest insults my profession could suffer. I don't usually do pro bono work, I said in a low voice. Don't tempt me to change my mind. He blanched and rose from his chair, mopping a new outbreak of sweat. Keeping this guy dry must be a full-time job. I beg your pardon, sir. I'm not very good at this sort of thing. I meant no offense. He began inspecting the books I keep on my shelves to impress clients, nervously distracting himself from his faux pas, and stopped at the same one they all stopped at, the one with the infamous name on the spine. He looked at me curiously. It's signed by the author, I said. In 1925, the year it was published. It's a first edition. It wasn't very famous then, and the book is mostly gibberish. Nobody read it, but eventually everybody bought it. You're a Nazi? I'm a collector. Call it my retirement fund. Inevitably, his eye strayed to the shadow box beside the bookcase, with the inscribed photo of President Heston in a 3-inch square of blood-stained linen. Is that from... Yeah, he was a bleeder. You were in the room? I was, I said, not bothering to sound humble like some of my friends did. We were badasses, knew it, and I didn't see any point in false modesty. Can we please return to the business at hand? Who is the victim? Tell him, dear, Blondie said with a gentle prod. It's all right, tell him. After he still hesitated, however, her tone changed. The prod now was more like the one designed for cattle. Tell him, you idiot! What a sweetheart. Delvin sat back down and wrung his hands like a teenage girl overacting in a high school production of A Streetcar Named Desire. My daughter, he finally said. God help me. I want you to kill my daughter. Blondie snorted and shook her head derisively at her pudgy husband. If she'd asked me to do it, it would have come right off her shoulders. I try not to judge my clients, but sometimes some people just rub you the wrong way. You can't fake it. That's one reason I smoke, to hide any traces of what my face betrays my true feelings about a client. Kids die all the time. Car wrecks, meningitis, freak accidents on the playground. There was a 9-year-old boy playing baseball who got struck in the chest by a pitch. He keeled over, dead. The ball wasn't thrown hard enough to break a window, yet it struck him in just the right spot at just the right time. Interrupted the electrical impulses from brain to heart, and that was that. Trying to have one is different. Sure, I've met children in my life who should have been killed, mostly in line at grocery stores and movie theaters. Of course, I say that in jest. Mostly. Killing a kid crosses a line I'm not prepared to cross. But Don Delvin wasn't technically a kid. So if Delvin wanted me to kill his adult daughter, what of it? I had hired somebody to check these new clients out before I met with them, so I knew their whole backstory. I found out the client, Leonard Ackworth Delvin, was having money problems of the sort that have plagued short, dumpy men with gorgeous wives for centuries, keeping them in diamonds, fancy cars, expensive vacations, and all the trappings of the sugar daddy scene. Before he reached 40, he owned a brokerage firm with 50 salesmen peddling junk bonds to people with little money and less sense. He'd made his money in bonds, but most of his assets weren't liquid, which meant a constant juggling act between credit cards and escrow accounts to keep Blondie happy, if that was possible. This kept him in a perpetual cash crunch. Blondie's real name was Lila. She was the first Lila I'd ever met. She was his third wife and not the intended target's mother. Much better looking than most third wives and certainly more expensive. She was gorgeous in a whorish kind of way, but also on the wrong side of 40 and starting to show it. As the wrinkles set in, it took more and more expensive baubles to hide them, or rather to distract people's attention from the beginning turkey neck and lines in her forehead. So the bills mounted while the cash dwindled. Something had to give, and it wasn't going to be Lila Devlin's plastic surgery schedule. The allowance money his daughter received was more than enough to cover her medical bills, or so she'd said after her fifth martini while lunching with friends at an upscale bistro. My PI buddy doesn't miss much and loves lunching at expensive bistros when somebody else is paying. In this case, me. He recorded every word and had a snifter of Courvoisier XO with dessert. There's nothing cheap or sober about James Holliday. How old is she? 19, Blondie answered with raised eyebrows and a slight smile. Old enough to be killed. Legally, yes, I said. I trickled smoke out of my nose to watch her reaction, but she didn't flinch. She reminded me of a snake on the hunt. I even looked to make sure her pupils were round, not like slits on a viper. My precious darling doesn't mince words, Delvin said. In that respect, she has an old soul. He reached out to caress her hair, but she turned away, making me wonder where his hand had been and trying to remember if I'd shook it. I wanted to tell him that her soul was probably as old as her profession, but didn't. Cash is king, after all. And I didn't give two shits if paying me left him cash poor. He had plenty of assets to liquidate. I've always been able to sense danger ahead of time and known who was dangerous and who wasn't. Until I was 8 or 9, I thought everybody could do the same thing. I also thought seeing people surrounded by colors was normal, which I made the mistake of mentioning to Gloria Twendall in 7th grade, and when she told all of her friends, earned me the nickname Crayon. I tried to fake liking Delvin, and not only because there was no way to know how many more people he might want dead. I wanted the business, of course, and while hiring me to execute his daughter made that impossible, I could and did aim for Sybil. But I had also met a lot of people like Delvin, who substituted assholeness for the pain of growing up bullied. I recognized it because it was my life story. Why do you want her dead, Mr. Delvin? Why do you need to know? Matrons when they said, bless your heart, but really meant drop dead. Her curled lips and upturned nose reminded me of a surprised chicken looking down its beak at me. I hoped the balloons on her chest stayed inside the minimal restraint of her low-cut black gown, because I wanted to hate her. I mean, really, deep down, sanctimonious, soul-satisfying hate, and I knew is it over slowly women. I crushed out my smoke. I have to presume the 19-year-old target is in good physical condition and take measures accordingly. To do that, it helps to know why she's a target. For instance, if she regularly shoots at neighbors with an AR-15, I need to know. The ethics of my profession are clear that judging clients is the equivalent of bringing braised kittens and puppies for a fundraising dinner at the local animal shelter. We're not supposed to care why you want somebody killed, only whether you can afford it or not. For some reason, I kept digging away at Delvin. In the end, who cares why our customers want somebody dead? It won't change anything. But I did want to know. Her name is Dawn, he said. Dawn Mary Delvin. You shouldn't have any trouble. She's quite small. My baby girl can't weigh more than 110 pounds in a wet t-shirt. I wish he hadn't mentioned a 19-year-old female in a wet t-shirt. She joined the Peace Corps right out of high school, but now she's doing something else. There's a foundation that builds schools down in Central America. She's there now. She's building a school. Yes, but not like you're thinking. See, the children down in those hellholes go to school in the dirt in front of somebody's hovel out there in the jungle somewhere. People like my daughter help them pick up the plastic bottles thrown everywhere. Then they stuff them with trash and build walls out of them, slather on a coat of mortar, pour a concrete floor, screw on a metal roof, and they call it a school. Fascinating. And what? This offends you? Oh, my word, no. I couldn't be prouder of her, trying to bring civilization to those people. Uh-huh, I said, as if that made sense. Ugh, gag, Blondie said. I doubted that she had gagged for a long time. The self-righteous little bitch does that shit for a cover, to make everybody think she's little Miss Sweet and Innocent. Why do you say that, Mrs. Delvin? Call me Lila. That's the last thing I wanted to do. Mrs. Delvin is more professional, and a pro acts like a pro. I said this, wondering if she'd catch the double entendre. She did, and she curled her lip again. I wanted to ask her if she was flirting or doing an Elvis impression, but managed to keep quiet. Lost my box. I had to cough. There's. Think what you want of me, Mr. Steed. You will anyway. But my husband is a good man who's blinded to the snarling mongrel hiding behind his daughter's oh-so-innocent blue eyes and white teeth. She's trying to have me killed because she wants Daddy's money all for herself. She's a monster. As she spoke, Mr. Delvin tinkered with his phone, found what he sought, and held it for me to see. It was a photo of a young woman with a bright smile and sunshine in her hair. She was holding a butterfly in her palm and appeared to be giggling. Those were the things I was supposed to focus on. Instead, I focused on what was behind the butterfly. I kept a professional mask on my face, but inwardly felt like a real creep. If Helen of Troy looked even half as good as Dawn Delvin, it was no wonder all of Greece spent a decade killing each other over her. She was a wholesome, innocent goddess. Those bright blue eyes and a face the color of fine china under the mane of curly black hair had no doubt broken more than one heart during high school, because after 5 seconds, she was breaking mine. This was going to be like killing the Easter Bunny. And that was chapter 1! All right! I hope y'all watching have enjoyed this very first Kalene's story time. And thank you, Mr. Bill Webb, for bringing your story to the forefront of the line, The Trashman. And for all those watching, if this first chapter live read so much has piqued your interest, just dropped a little bit of a link in there. You can go ahead and click that. At least check it out, see what's going on. It is an affiliate link, so should you happen to purchase it or anything else through that linkage, all those proceeds do help us here at Keystroke Medium. Let me go over here. Thank you to help us at Keystroke Medium to keep being able to do what we do, because a lot of the things that we use are not free, so we have to pay for them somehow. And yes, Bill Webb, you are most welcome. I hope you enjoyed my interpretation of your character. He seems like a super fun time. And ooh, we got another one. Dan Bridgewater. I hope I said that right. Thanks, Kalene, as a reader. I can tell you it just gets better. Ooh, alrighty. So he's obviously read it before. And this has already had 14 reviews on Amazon, every single one of them a 5-star review. So very good, Mr. Will Webb. Awesome, amazing job. One of those is from James Bond meets Harry Dresden. Says, I really liked how smoothly the story was written. It's first person and carries you through the story like he is sitting across from you at a bar, telling you like it is. The action is quick and effective. The reveals keep coming throughout the story. I can't wait for the next one. Alrighty. And if anyone else out there, like I said at the beginning of the show, wants to have their story put into the rotation, send me a story time on the subject line to kwilliams@nosafewordsllc.com. I will get you in the rotation. I might do another one on Sunday. I don't know. I haven't decided because there were so many submissions within like the first 2 hours. I had to bust out the Excel spreadsheet and then like another way to organize all of these. So like, for example, Mr. Bill Webb had sent me 5 possible works to read from. Should I run out of new authors and new stories, I will then jump back up to his next story and then it continues on. So you don't have to send me just one. You can send me multiple stories that you would like to have live narrated. And I hope everyone out there enjoyed it. All of the mistakes and all, because that's the funness of live reads, is there's probably going to be some bobbles. Alrighty, everyone out there, be sure to check out, let's see, what do we have going on? This Saturday, The Writer's Journey. Be sure to check us out then at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm eventually going to get these show times correct. And also Mondays live at 11 a.m., I think it was, Eastern, with Josh and Scott and Chuck, the Chuck Manley. And then also we have James, and I'm forgetting his last name. I'm so sorry, James. I know we're going to have some new stuff coming out from him very soon. And me on Wednesdays. I'm liking this 2:30 time. I'm thinking I might stick with it. So check me out if I don't show up on Sunday, which I probably will, because like I said, there's a lot of stories, and I want everyone to have the opportunity to hear their stuff narrated. But definitely Wednesdays, 2:30. So that would be 4:30 Eastern. Already. So that's it. I want to keep these at about 10 to 15 minutes. Now it's 20 minutes. I might need to go 15 to 20 minutes. But anyway. So yeah, that was first one. Yay! Be sure to come check us out. All the shows, subscribe, ding the bells, all the things. Check us out. Keystroke Medium in the Facebook group, on the MeWe's. There's a Discord, reading, writing, everything in between, right here on Keystroke Medium. Peace, guys.